Friends, normally the month of March, earlier only 8th March was considered to be the Women's Day. Now the whole month of March is considered to be the Women's Month. At least those who are married, they will say that not whole month of March, whole year becomes now the Women's Year nowadays. Today we have a wonderful topic, empowering women entrepreneurs, celebrating innovation, leadership, and growth in MSMEs. We have a wonderful panelists. In fact, all are young panelists. So it is their taste or as well as our taste. How best we can get best out of them and how best they give the answers, how their progress and what they look into that particular respective field. I'm happy to say today's the name of today's panelist, very enthusiastic and young women entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, see, secondly, I would like to say that Ahmedabad Management Association and Dr. Jaimin Vasa AMA MSME Development Center has, this is the 10th SME Growth Series organized by AMA with us. Over the years, we have successfully hosted 9 impactful editions of this growth series covering diverse topics such as branding and marketing, finance, family business, digital media, role of women entrepreneurship in developing Indian economy, human resources, lean manufacturing, export opportunity for MSMEs, among so many others also. We are proud to share these events have generated a significant success and benefiting numerous SMEs through our growth series activities. It is indeed a privilege and a proud moment to gather today on this to discuss and celebrate and accelerate the role of women entrepreneurs for MSMEs. Let me introduce the panelists sitting over here. We have Ms. Anuja Parikh. We have with us Usha Jaiswal. We have with us Deval Suparkar. Very few who doesn't know her actually. And today's moderator and panelist is Dr. Runal Patel. Anuja is a CEO of Intex Systems and Usha Jaiswal is the owner Ananya Design Studio. Deval Soparkar, the owner Ashiana Infrastructure, and Runal is the executive director Vasa Pharmachem Private Limited. The International Women's Day is a global celebration of the achievements and the contributions of women across all sectors, which was celebrated on 8th March. In part of this celebration, we aim to honor the extraordinary women in micro, small and medium enterprise sector who continues to lead, innovate and drive the positive change in their communities and beyond. By organizing a detailed event for women MSME entrepreneurs, we seek to provide a platform for networking, learning and empowerment while addressing the unique challenges women face in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. This program will serve as a landmark event to honor and support women entrepreneurs in their journey towards business excellence. Today, we are here not just to acknowledge these challenges, but to focus on solutions, success stories, and strategies that can fuel the aspirations of the countless women ready to lead and transform the business landscape. Women entrepreneurs are catalysts the economic growth, innovation, and social development And in the MSME sector, their leadership drive job creation, market expansion, and sustainable progress. Empowering the woman in business is not just a matter of equality, but strategic move to economic resilience and innovation. Friends, this women-led MSME contributes significantly to the national and global economics, yet they face persistent challenges such as limited access of finance, lack of mentorship, and gender biases. Overcoming these barriers requires a targeted policies, financial inclusion, and skill development programs. By focusing an inclusive business environment, governments and organizations can unlock the immense potential of women entrepreneurs. This event is a testament that transformation. Today, as we embark on this insightful session, our focus will be on three key pillars: innovation, leadership, and growth. Increased awareness, that is, women entrepreneurs will gain a deeper understanding of the opportunities and challenges within the MSME sector, and with actionable insights for growth, networking, and collaborations. Building strong relationship between women entrepreneurs, mentors, investors, and other stakeholders, creating the collaboration business ecosystem. Knowledge transfer, women will live with practical skills in the key areas such as financial management and branding, marketing, and digital transformation. Now, empowering the entrepreneurs, these women will feel more confident in managing and scaling their businesses with enhanced leadership. Now, why we should encourage, or how women are getting encouraged, is that it is an essential for achieving a gender equality and sustainable development. By celebrating their achievements and addressing systematic barriers, we create a future, a future where businesses, economies, and societies flourish together. Empowering women in MSME is not just about the opportunity, it is about the driving the progress for all. So, by providing knowledge, resources, and networking opportunity, we hope to create a more inclusive and thriving ecosystem for women in business. We look forward to the participation of women entrepreneurs, mentors, investors, and all stakeholders committed by empowering women in MSMEs. Through this provoking discussion, engaging panels, and inspiring success stories, we aim to empower women entrepreneurs with knowledge and networks and resources. Ahmedabad Management Association has been instrumental in creating a platform for knowledge sharing, business growth, professionals development for women in MSME and women professionals also. And today's session is yet another step in that direction. This is more than just a discussion. It is call for the collective action. Let us work together. First, create an ecosystem that nurtures and supports women entrepreneurs. Second, ensure equal access to the financial and market opportunities. And third, foster mentorship, networking, and capacity building for aspiring women leaders. As we embark on today's sessions, I encourage all of you to actively engage, exchange ideas, and build a meaningful connections. The insights we gather today will not only empower women entrepreneurs, but will also contribute to the larger goal of economic resilience and inclusive growth. With this, I once again welcome you all to this momentous occasion, and let us inspire, empower, and create a very new opportunities and collaborate to shape a future where women entrepreneurs are not just the participants but leaders in MSME sector in all categories. So thank you. And before I end, I would like to introduce today's mentor, Dr. Runal Patel. She is a dynamic entrepreneur with 17 years of leadership experience in the area of pharmaceutical and nutraceutical industries. As a director of Vasa Pharmachem Private Limited, she has played a pivotal role in driving export growth and strategic market expansion. She basically also contributes to international trade relationship as a director at CIA, what is Canadian Indian Foundation, fostering bilateral business opportunities. Beyond the corporate achievements, she is actively engaged in business development initiatives, mentoring startups too, engaged in business development initiatives, mentoring startups and advocating for women's entrepreneurship. Her contributions have been recognized through several prestigious awards, including the FTIEA International Excellence and the Global Leadership Award 2023 and the Women Achievers Award 2023 from Sardar Patel Education Trust. And I'm happy to say that just before 2 years, she has completed her doctorate also. So she is now Dr. Runal Patel. And before I hand over the mic to her, I would like to felicitate her. May I request Runal to now take over the mic and continue the further proceedings. Thank you.
I'm going to shift this a bit so I can see them, I can see you all as well. Thank you so much for introducing me.
Excuse me, just to say that today's proceeding is live on YouTube.
Hello and welcome everyone. It takes me immense pleasure to welcome you all today for this session of Empowering Women in MSME. Today we are going to dive into a powerhouse discussion. We are going to talk to dynamic forces of young women. They are not only participating in the business world, they are also redefining it. They are taking up challenges, building blocks in the business world. They are shaping up not only themselves, but also women like us. From breaking barriers to creating disruptive businesses and leading with impact, these women have done it all with grit, growth, and game-changing insights. It leaves us with the inspiration and the empowerment that they have done, so we can also take a leap forward, taking the inspiration from them. Empowerment or empowering women in micro and small scale industries is very, very important for fostering economic growth, innovation, and gender equality. Before years, when I used to keep on hearing this, empowering women, I did not understand or take it seriously. But now I really understand it, that for the economic growth and gender equality, how empowering women or women helping each other is very important. Women in MSMEs facing unique challenges, including limited access to finance, training markets, and however, overcoming these barriers have a significant impact on both individual businesses and broader communities. Today we have four remarkable women. I was saying four remarkable women, but we've got Poonam Kaushik, who unfortunately cannot join us today. So we've got three dynamic women here, and who are the forefront of the MSME movement. They are not dreamers, they are the doers. They are not talking about the chase. They are actually creating it. From crafting immersive design experiences for wedding and fashion, to reshaping healthcare platforms, to navigating women in real estate and digital world. These women are proving that future businesses is undeniably female. Join me in welcoming all three of them. Ms. Anuja Parikh, CEO of Intech Systems. Ms. Usha Jaiswal, owner Anaya Multi-Designer Studio. And Ms. Deval Soparkar, founder of Ashiana Infrastructure. Thank you all of you to join us here today and sharing your success, your stories, your journeys with us in the talk that we are going to have now. Anuja, I will start with you. Anuja Parikh, I'll just say in short the profile because he's already said it. Anuja Parikh is a CEO of Intech System. She has a vast experience in harnessing cutting-edge technology, global marketing and business solutions, a driving force behind digital transformation, and has been awarded a role model for 2023 Women in Cloud for empowering women in tech world. Anuja, I have known you since ages, and you have been a very successful businesswoman, a mother of two, very accomplished kids. Can you advise the women here and also men? Yeah, I'll do it now. Accomplished kids, sorry. And can you advise women here and also men here, how can they have it all? Have it all. When we say women, have it all. So what does this have it all mean, and what is the mantra to have a work-life balance? Now, before you start, I would please request Mr. Vasa to felicitate you. Should I repeat the question?
Yeah. Thank you, Runal, for the introduction. So I think as women, I think all of us wear many hats, as a daughter, as a wife, as a mother, daughter-in-law, etc., etc. So when people say, can you really have it all? I kind of say that, it's at the moment, sometimes you may not, but life is a journey. So definitely you can have it all. And as Runal said, my experiences which I want to share. So obviously born and brought up here, studied here, but then went to US to study. And I lived in Silicon Valley for 10 years. I'm in technology. And after I had kids, both my husband and I decided to move back to Ahmedabad. So if one is in technology and, in Silicon Valley, coming back to Ahmedabad, to continue in tech is definitely a big change. But I embraced it. I joined my family company. And at that time, we were very small. And over time, I've grown it almost to 10x. So today we have more than 300. Thank you. So today we have more than 300 people, and we have operations not only in India but in US and Singapore. So we cater to a lot of global, audiences and companies. I think for success, I think I'll leave the audience with kind of three things which have kind of helped me in that journey. Is that one is that, especially when you are a woman, you have to, learn how to do time management. So we have to prioritize and plan much in advance. If you want to, wear multiple hats, you have to. That's what I did. I live a very structured life, very boring, but it helps me to achieve my goals and what I'm passionate about. The second would be that, I think as women, we have not learned to say no, but I think it is very important to say no. Take up things that, you can do and not stress yourself. It's, no person is a superwoman, right? Even if I were to say, man, can you, take care of the kids, take care of your home, work for 8-10 hours. I don't think any man can also do it. So I think it's important to say no to certain things while being considerate, right? You can't just escape from your duties, but by proper planning, you can reschedule things according to the time that you have. So I think the second would be, as I said, learn to say no. And the third is ask for help. I think a lot of times, as I said, we want to say, I will only cook for my kids, I'll only go and pick up my kids, I will only do everything. It's not possible, and it's not possible for any person in this world to do it. So a lot of times I have seeked out help from my family, from my friends, hire help, there is no shame in doing that. But that doesn't mean that you outsource everything. I think as a mother, kids are very important, but I always value that instead of quantity, it's the quality of time you spend with the kids and what you teach to them. So I think considering all of this, I think I've been able to have a good work-life balance and pursue my passions and ensure that, both family and work have been successful. Yeah.
So it's basically a tailor-made thing.
Yeah.
All the women have to do a work-life balance. It's tailor-made. Like in my house, I might have to do a different way. In your house, you might have to do a different way. But I think, yes, there should not be any hesitation in asking help. And I think behind every successful woman, there is always another successful woman. So,
Definitely.
So yeah, so it's always a teamwork and it helps. There's another question for you, that how in your company and elsewhere, you drive diversity and inclusion at work. So how do you attract and encourage women to work in your company?
So when I joined my company, and this was almost more than 15 years ago, I was the only woman. And coming from US, I found it very surprising. Instead of looking at the glass half empty, I said, let me see what change can I bring in. And the change has to be brought up in the entire culture, your entire processes, your thinking, your systems, everything has to change. So in a lot of, like, for example, recruitment efforts, I especially wrote, women preferred. Because women a lot of times hesitate, it's like, maybe I'm not qualified for this role, I'll not even apply. Where for men, they are quite ambitious and, they, even if they satisfy, 5 out of the 10 criterias, they go for it. The other is also training the team how to be more empathetic to women. Also, we had, especially in IT, it's quite easy to work from home, work remotely. And I've always found that, for women, when women get married or when they have kids or their husbands move, they leave their career. And for all of these journeys, we have kind of custom created roles for women that they could work remotely. I have, one woman who was working with us, her husband moved to Dubai, and we said, no worries, you can do the same work, because she's worked with us for a number of years. I said, you can work from Dubai, and it's working out great for us. Even in terms, when women get kids, we have given, obviously it's mandatory to give 6 months leave, but even post that, we've given flexibility to women to have a hybrid scenario. So they come to work for a couple of days or a couple of hours, and then rest they can work from home. So such type of policies every company needs to embody to kind of make sure that, you can retain these women and these women can rise up in their career.
So basically, it's making some work arrangements for the women over there.
And flexibility.
Yeah, flexibility, so that they can juggle the business and the family responsibilities. Do you think that your work model is more of empathy or more of inclusivity? Because the way you describe it, do you think that works more better?
Yeah. So I think I would say both. It's we have to be empathetic to different situations, but in general, we have a very inclusive company. Like in the last 5 years, especially in the Microsoft ecosystem, we've been consistently winning the Diversity and Inclusion Award. So we've gone beyond just gender. So we have religion, age diversity. So for a lot of people, the retirement age here is fixed. But in fact, we've gone beyond and hired, slightly mature people. And, they have been a great asset to us because a lot of the tech people are young. So that dynamics of age has also helped us. So I would say, general inclusivity in the company has made the company, much better.
Yeah. So here I would like to add my point as well. I also believe in more of collaboration than competition. So women competing with women, it would be more difficult rather than having a collaboration between two of them. So that work model works much better.
Absolutely. I
Isn't
think one of the things we have is like a Sakhi program. Everybody in the company usually has a mentor, but mentor is somebody you always look up to. But for your day-to-day problems or something quick you want to ask, you are always shy to go to your mentor. So exactly as you said, we created a Sakhi program, which is like more like a buddy. It's like, hi Deval, tell me how this is done, or I'm facing this problem. How would you do it?
I think it builds more confidence.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and also, as you rightly said, that women can demonstrate exceptional problem-solving abilities and pivot the businesses when necessary. So in your case also, there must have been women in your industry which would have actually pivoted the business models, small or whatever the inclusion of the women that you must have. So can you share some experience or even your experience?
So yeah, I think unfortunately in India, I didn't have so many mentors, but being in the US, I had a few. So I've looked up to some women, but in general, I think for mentorship and others, actually men are also very important because they think from another perspective.
True.
So even when you're thinking about diversity and inclusion, men helping women is also equally important than
absolutely.
Men,
Absolutely. I think you can't compete. The equality that they speak about, women and men, no, they both are different. That's why they are made different.
Exactly.
So I think both of them have got their equal strengths. So they can't be actual competitors. Women leadership often brings a more human-centric approach to business, understanding the needs of employees, customers, and their communities. I would also like to ask you that now that you are into the tech world, how does the technology help the women entrepreneurs, the smaller, rural, or even us, to expand our horizon to new businesses globally?
Right. No, I'm quite a passionate person for technology, and I think today technology has kind of democratized the entire world. So a MSME local using technology can reach out to a far greater global audience. So those barriers of entry has completely eliminated. So I would definitely urge a lot of the people to, pick up technology, tools like, if you are running a small shop, right? You can kind of use your Instagram and social media to attract clients globally. And also a lot of these learning methods are easily available on YouTube and everything. So completely technology has democratized the entire world, and there is no barrier for entry anymore. You can learn, knowledge is available, your audience is out there. I think it's up to one to kind of seek out, learn, explore, and world is at your feet then.
Yeah, very true. Thank you so much. So my next question, or before that, I would like to say about Deval Soparkar. My next question would be to you. But before that, I would like Dr. Jamin Vasa to felicitate you. So my next question is to Deval Soparkar. She is the founder of Ashiana Infrastructure. She is one of the few women developers in the industry. She has played a key role in Make Money Organic Limited listing on the Singapore Stock Exchange. She is honored with multiple awards, out of which the most recent one is the Udgam Women Achievers Award 2024 and the She Rise Award by the Times of India. She's a strong believer of perseverance and innovation. My question to you, now that you have been my childhood friend also, I have known you since ages. Sometimes it leaves me strange to accept that Make Money was such a big name. You have not opted to join Make Money but carved your own path with completely plunged into a different venture. Could you share with us what made you choose a different path? Because that is completely male-dominated world. So if you can share your insights, what made you go on this path?
See, this is what happens when you have your childhood friend. She asks very pointed questions. But thank you, Runal. So Make Money is my dad's company, and dad is here today. I was with him because in Gujarati family, most of us know that dining table is the boardroom, and we discuss business there. So I was always very passionate that I want to join my dad's business, and I will also get married in the 3-kilometer radius from his house, and everything actually fall in place. You know, I came back from New York, joined his business. I joined at a very opportune time when company was preparing for the listing in Singapore Stock Exchange. We were in fact the first Indian company to get listed in Singapore Stock Exchange. And we got awards for being the most transparent company. When I joined company, the turnover was about 150 crores. Today, the turnover is more than 5,000 crores. So,
Fabulous.
I will take half of the claps for me. So everything was going great. Company had a very massive expansion in 2006, where I was also a part, where we got a loan from World Bank, International Finance Corporation. And since we are talking about women empowerment, I think I should mention that because we became the first company in Asia to get award for promoting women employment in the chemical sector.
Wow.
And I was quite passionately driving this project only because when I joined the company in 2002, right after coming back, Dad took me to one of the plants in Vatva. And as basic as a toilet for female was not there. So when IFC came on the board, their first condition was not only toilet, but also the changing room with a certain distance from men. And that is a very, very basic thing to promote women employment. And, you know, we miss out on those smaller points. So we thought it would be a good thing. And lucky for me is that all these initiations were always supported. And we found out that it is very difficult to get a very matured woman to work. So at that time, we got technical college, women technical college, and told them that you can have internship there. Because imagine when a lady walks in with about 500, 600 men working, and typically when one person is absent, the other person in the second shift automatically assumes that responsibility. It is very difficult for a woman to work in the night shift. So you have to actually be very, very proactive, human resource wise and policy wise also, plus your plants are located 1.5 hours out of the city limit. Now imagine that 3 hours in a woman's day-to-day life, in a daily life, is very important. She can cook during that time, she can take care of kids' study during that time. So 3 hours are very critical. But if you tap them early, then possibly those things are not very strong in their mind. And I think for the longest time, correct me if I'm wrong, Dad, but our captive power plant was run by females. And that was a very big achievement. From Make Money, which was doing so well, Make Money actually had the real estate project, and I was looking after finance, and I thought that one day, when you are doing finance for so long, you have that auditor ka keeda inside. That I want to go and check whether whatever the money we are spending, whether it is right or not. So I went to one of the real estate site that Make Money was doing at that time. So it was a corporate house as well as a residential scheme. So I said, of course, this much amount has gone in, and absolutely 0 cents, because I think after 9th grade when we did square feet, I've never done square feet in real life. So I said, but entrepreneur have to have a very, a common sense or a basic mathematics that all entrepreneurs would have and should have. I said, जितना पैसा गया है उतना काम लगता नहीं कि हुआ है. So I went to my dad's friend and I said, explain to me, because I don't understand this. So he said, you have already paid double, because contractors are typically will milk the cow who is ready. So they know that's a big corporate company, you raise the bill, they will give you the bill, and because it's a new business, they won't know. So I said, okay. So I took the accounting in my hand, because I was anyway looking at finance. Then slowly and steadily, I started loving the business so much. So I said, okay, I'll carve out. And I think after 3 or 4 years, I went to Dad and said that I want to start my own real estate company. And 2 things happened at the same time. I think I became the first founder, lady developer, probably at India level, to start her own real estate company. Because CREDAI, our national body, has not found a record. They have record where they have joined their father's business or husband's business, but they have not found a lady who has started her business. And second thing that has happened is that I started my project, and in 1 week I came to know that I'm pregnant with the second child. I just want to give this message to the crowd that it is possible. I gave birth 2 things at a time, my own company and my second child, and it happened parallelly. I named my company Ashiana Infrastructure. It's my parents' name, Ashish and Naina. They both are here. If you can just raise your hands. And so I named it Ashiana Infrastructures because Ashiana means homes. And I thought I'll only do residential project. But once again, I want to say that as an entrepreneur, you should never limit your thoughts, because you should always love your money than anything else. Absolutely. So from residential, when I got chance to venture into plotting, to commercial, to warehousing, I never said no to any opportunity, because your biggest stakeholder is you in the company. And if you are happy, healthy, balance sheet wise and health wise, then your company will grow. So I've decided that I will not say no to any project, and money will be the key motivator for the company to grow.
Wow. So we think that you are like a tea bag. The more you dip, the harder you are. So that is what you are. So you should share with us, how was your family supportive? Because there are lots of women entrepreneurs who might want to go into a different field, but a support and a little bit of guidance, everything is very important for them to go ahead in the line that they choose. So can you share how your family supported, especially because you were changing the entire line?
I think when I told Dad, it was a very informal discussion that we had. And I told him that one of the main reasons that I want to do is that I want to start something of my own, because I have always seen him so passionate about his own company. So I thought it would be a good thing to do. And second thing was that I also felt that in a very big company, which is very systematically driven company, I started losing on not learning every day. So there was this challenge that strive for excellence that I was kind of missing, because it was such a big company that there was no room to make mistake and then to grow from there on. So that was also one of the reason. Of course, family supported, like dad financially, mom because I had a kid at that time, so they shifted their whole residence and my office was down in the, you know how typically the site office is there,
Yeah.
and their house was above, and both my parents were there, so I think they supported my husband, my kids. In fact, I want to also tell a lot of people that, you know, your kids adjust to your lifestyle. It's a myth that kids demand and all, they adjust to their lifestyle. And I think mine have adjusted it to the point that if I come early, their first question is, are you okay? Because they want me to go every day and want me to come late, or because they've adjusted to this lifestyle and they know it, they are very supportive. And I think during that time, I think they've also become more independent. So I personally feel that my mom made a choice to be a homemaker. I was not that independent. I was dependent on her. I'm still dependent on her.
Yeah.
But my daughter is much more independent because she doesn't have that excess of me all the time. So I think kids adjust. So all the women sitting out here, take it out. Also, do not take a hat that I only have to nurture the child. It's also father's duty. So glad that you asked this question to Anuja, that how are you doing work-life balance? Because in all the professional panels, I do not answer this question. I always tell them that we will hear from men's world how they are managing work life, because they also somehow in women empowerment process, we should stop doing 2-3 things. One is that we should never answer the question about work-life balance because that everyone has to do. Second is that we should stop accepting or taking the head that I'm a superwoman, because there is no Superman, and if there is Superman, it's a fictional character. So Superwoman doesn't exist. You will make mistake, and there is no work-life balance. It's always a priority. So if the kid is not well, you will not take up certain thing. But there is always, so I think it's all about priority. And also, I do not use the word gender equality, I use the word gender sensitivity.
Absolutely.
Because gender equality is also a myth. Whom are we equating ourselves with? You know, we have to be more gender sensitive towards the thing. And as a mother of a boy, I think my main duty is that not only for him to be more sensitive towards the other gender, but also to accept a woman who is much more empowered. So I think that's where you start doing, I'm not here to change the world, I'm not into politics, but whatever the men that are around me, I would like to see that they accept empowered women. So small contribution, but goes a long way. So
Absolutely. Very nicely said for the women that you need support from the family, whether it is mentally, physically, financially, but it is needed. You are a founder lady that stands strong in the men-centric world at the moment. I know we don't name it as a men-centric, but where there is a male population more. How would you encourage the other women to come and do the same that you have done?
Oh, so in CREDAI, when I became the builder, the first thing typically you do, or I would request anyone to join the different organization or the forums that your industry has, because you can get a lot of cross-cultural references. So when I joined, I was the only lady member. And you should know also how to play your gender card. So when I was the only lady member, a lot of time they asked me to come and sit in the first row or second row. And I used to joke around with senior builders that, you know, I'm the only glamour factor you have, because otherwise the room looks so boring. But then using that, after about 6 years down the line in this sector, when people started knowing about me and about the leadership skill, CREDAI founded the women's wing with a motive to get more women in the field. The only, and we started with just one member. Now we have active 13 members and 92 members who are on the roll doing various work at real estate, because real estate is on the face, it's a very hardcore industry, but there are many factors or many things a woman can do. You can be an architect, you can be an interior designer, you can be a financial arranger, even if your father is into real estate. These are all the very soft skill areas where you can put your hard work into,
yeah.
and you don't have to necessarily be on site, though site is a very fascinating thing to be, because you see actual development happening in front of you. So I get very excited to be on the site. But even if you don't want to do it, and if you still want to be part of your family business, there are very many areas where you can be, and these are all the soft areas that I mentioned. And you can do that very effectively. Even you can manage HR. You can be a lawyer and can manage legal. Legal has become very crucial now after RERA. So there are many areas, and I tell a lot of females who come for a mentorship or come for guidance that there are ample opportunities. Just keep your eyes and mind both open.
Absolutely. This is a very you had a very inspiring women, and I like what you said, that you should be heard. So when you have to say something in this world, women empowerment, when we talk about women empowerment, women should be heard, because she also has got lots of ideas which should be placed on the table and heard. And women should continue to push these boundaries, demonstrating leadership and resilience. Now moving to Usha Jaiswal. I would like Dr. Jamin Vasa to please felicitate her. Usha Jaiswal is a renowned fashion designer, a trailblazer in the fashion industry. She is also a curator of high-end fashion events. She also supports her husband in the pharmaceutical packing industry. She has won many awards and is now the Senior Vice President for FICCI Flow, stepping up next year to become the President of FICCI Flow. She has taken up many challenges and carved her road. Usha, I have also known you since long, and could you share with us that your journey, where you had a limited access to capital, finance, the culture and the background that you come from, how did you successfully break these barriers and go into the fashion industry?
So thank you so much for the beautiful introduction, Runal. Actually, I'm a qualified interior designer. So once I was back from Vidyanagar, I used to study there. Once I was back in Ahmedabad, when I was in college, that time also I was doing many shows. I was too much into, my passion was fashion. But when I came to Ahmedabad, I realized that back then there was not so much of scope for interior designers, honestly. So I thought I did few projects here, and then I thought I will continue my passion. And me and my sister both together started a small boutique, a small workshop with around 27 karigars who were from Banaras, and then few tailors as well. And slowly and gradually because back then there were not so many units, so many boutiques there. We did very well. There were times when we had to, just stop, put the shutters down, keep our chappals inside, hide the car somewhere else so that customers couldn't come. So we have made the most of it back then. Now we are just missing the same time because now there's so much of competition and everything. But I think the passion kept us alive, and we were very happy doing it. And we were very successful. And the money was good, so we were doing that.
Great. You had said that the primary challenges for most women is capital. Did you face any problems of investing capital or procuring it?
Initially, when we started very small without the support of my husband or my father. Me and my sister started putting some money every month. But when we grew, we started supplying to big departmental stores. Like we used to do bulk business for garments. That time we really required big capital because the investment was huge and the money would come like after 3 months, after the delivery and everything. But thankfully, we didn't go through much of the problems. But we took the help of a bank. That time I did not knew much about the schemes that were going. That I know about right now because we were not registered with the MSME or anything. I just knew of the Laghu Udyog thing that we did back then. And we took a small loan from a bank, which we easily paid off, and we really made good money. And successfully, I did not have to struggle too much for the money part.
So you were the lucky one. Because
I can-
usually in most of the women empowerment, as we know, there is always a problem to access the finance.
Actually, it is always there. But me and my sister were very clear about the money thing. Earlier, when we started, first 2 years, we never asked for money from our clients. We were so shy because we belong to a good family, and हमको ऐसा लगता था कि पैसे मांगेंगे तो somebody might be, women might get offended because women are generally like that. They have big egos, and when somebody asks for money, they don't like it. So, but after 2 years of work, me and my sister decided we would work on advance, no credit limit, and when we worked with the corporate, like we worked for V-Mart, then Spencer's, we always made a point कि थोड़ा सा advance लें and then we work. So that's the reason we did not struggle much for the money. Our payments were always on time. That's the thing.
And in this fashion world, do you ever think of going global?
So for the bulk business, we never thought of going global, but for the boutique thing, that customization, we are big time into customization as well for wedding wear and occasion wear. For that, we are already supplying to 2 brands there in US. So that's it. That's the only thing that
Nice
we are
to
doing.
know about your innovative leadership skill of going into a whole different world of fashion. Now that I would just like to say that the financial products that the government has made available now, I mean, you were not aware of the scheme before. But now the government has made lots of schemes available
Lots
for
of schemes.
everybody,
Now,
like the
I personally
Yashaswini.
have applied for the CGT MSc scheme
MSc,
right
yeah.
now. I am currently going to avail that loan, hopefully.
So it is good to know for all of us that there are different schemes that the government has opened, which is the Yashaswini campaign, the Udyam Sakhi, and the Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. All these schemes are supporting the women empowerment. For women empowerment, they're supporting the women of the MSME sector. So you can spread this knowledge, spread this awareness that you can get lots of subsidies and lots of help from the government if you go through these different types of schemes on the government website.
I think current time is the best time for the ladies because there is so much of help available from all the government and also private sector. You can avail a lot of loans, if you have a good project, obviously.
Absolutely. So I've got one question. I mean, it's open to all. Anybody can say. What advice would you give to women who aspire to start their own small and medium scale industry? I wouldn't say straight go into your own family business, but somebody who wants to try their hands on a small, micro, medium scale business. What would you advise them? How should they aspire? And because they sometimes feel intimidated with the challenges. So what is your take on that?
Firstly, I think the most important thing is to skill yourself. Whatever you choose, first learn about that thing, do research, and once you're done with your research and you know everything about the product that you want to launch or the company that you want to start, then you start working with different group of people. There are a lot of organizations currently, something like a Flow, GCCI, CII, you can join them and interact with a lot of other women there. There's so much to learn when you network, when you meet other women. You meet people from so many different verticals. Like if you join BNI, when I joined BNI, I think I was the most resourceful person. I am the most resourceful person right now. Because once we meet so many people, we learn about them, we learn about the business and everything. And if you want to really do something, you need to network really, really well. That's the first skill yourself, second, network really well.
So that was
I think Deval
you
can
also answer.
share few very good. I am not a very good speaker, but Deval can definitely throw some light.
So Usha and I are in FICCI Flow together, and she's a senior vice chair. I'm the vice chair, and so FICCI Flow's future looks bright. No, but jokes apart, I feel that hard work, passion has no gender. So you have to be, what Usha said is so right, that you have to equip yourself. When I was with Make Money and when I used to do investor call, a lot of time people used to ask me, are you a chemical engineer? And by the way, I was not. When now I'm at site and when I meet people, people ask me, are you an architect or a civil engineer? But I'm not. But I think you have to be really equipped with what you are managing, because that's a key to success. You have to keep learning. I think you have to be student for life, because world is changing so rapidly and we do not know, because we are part of this movement. But I could always feel that the technology is moving so fast. And you don't realize the speed because it's a same science concept. You are part of that loop, so you don't realize. But when my dadi was there, she never used to understand mobile. And for my son, I think in 1 year he was managing all the types of cell phones. It's only because he's part of the moment. So unless you are part of the continuous learning mode, you will never feel empowered after a point of time. So that is very important. And third is finance is available. Only thing, you have to be absolutely sure about your business model. Unless you are not sure about how do you see your business after 3 years, 5 years, finance could always be, because bankers are very smart. So to outsmart them, you have to equip yourself with your own business, and no one knows your business more than yourself. So I think that's very key thing. Of course, your leadership style and everything comes in place after you have finance in place and your good business in place. I also feel that if everything is clear, then you'll also attract good human talent who will stay with you. Because people like to get associated with passionate entrepreneurs. If you yourself is very shaky, who will join your business? Because they are putting in 10, 12 hours of your day with you. So I want to tell you, which I missed out in my previous thing, is that I do not have weekly off in my office. And still people are with me. The first employee is still with me. The only reason is that what I've said, and no one has done it in the real estate, is that I've given a flexi working style, because I know that engineers are a mid-income segment people where most chances are that their wives are working. And if they have to take, and schools have become very fancy, so if they have to take off for Parents' Day or child's annual drama, mothers or fathers have to put the leave. I tell him to go. I said, you go and be a good father, but come 7 days. And they are ready, because I've seen that no one in their free spirit will be able to take 83 days of leave that comes to you by this way. On the contrary, they feel guilty even asking for 3 days or 3 hours if they want to. I said, go and enjoy anniversary, go and enjoy your birthdays, go and enjoy your kid's birthday, but you are here 7 days. And that is working for me. And, so you have to innovate. When you are a women leader, probably you can bring in that empathy with them. And their wives love me because they take off on their anniversaries. So I think that's what you can do it probably as a woman. So I've used that. So once again, play your gender card well.
That's why we use the word human-centric. So that is why women are always human-centric. We always usually share the success stories. Is there any story with you, all three females, where you've goofed up or you have made a failure, made a mistake, and you learn from your own failures? Still take up the challenge. I mean, it's open to all. Any women over here can share their experience also.
So once we had done one big lot of around 17-18 lakhs for a company named Spencer's, and it was during Diwali time. Our entire lot was rejected due to QC issue, and we were in a soup. We didn't, our mind was not working. Me and my sister were just wondering, kya kare, and that 3 months, I think it was October, around mid-October we had sent the stuff, and November first week was the Diwali time. Till January we were just crying over the stuff that we had done, that had gone wrong. Actually, if the QC rejects some lot, then you can't do anything. There was no way we could, it was a rejected lot. After those 3 months were so damn bad, so bad that we couldn't think of anything else. We did not, we couldn't do the regular work that we used to do for other companies. So that 3 months actually showed us that instead of crying over what has gone bad, we should work to make ourselves better. We worked on the entire team, entire production unit. We set up new machines. Our carriers told कि थोड़ा machine में issue है, ऐसा है, वैसा है. We worked on the entire production unit and set up a new unit. Not at the cost of what we had already lost, but it was such a depressed moment for us, but it taught us a lot of things. We started working so much on our production unit after that rejected lot that we, for the same company, instead of 17 lakh, we did 30 lakh a new order, which was a great, big achievement for us.
Wow. So it's learning from your failures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think, like, especially I'm in technology, and learning, experimentation is constant. And I've always said that there is no word like failure. It is learning, right? You'll only learn if you are not afraid to make mistakes. And in a company, you have to have an environment that employees can make mistakes, because only then you can learn and become better. So, and I think even in general, right, to take risks, as an entrepreneur, you have to take risk. And if you're shy that, oh my God, I'm going to fail tomorrow, that's a bad sign, right?
Then you can't take a
so
leap.
yeah, then you cannot take risks, and that's not a sign of an entrepreneur. So I always, in lot of things, people keep on saying, this person failed, and I don't think you should be shy. As she said, you fail, you pick up yourself, and you
start
become
again.
better, right? There is no shame in failing, and I think that's what one needs to learn. It's okay to fail, as kids, that's how we all learn to walk. We fell down so many times, and that's how we started to learn.
So I think as women, including me, we all pride on being that hard cookie. I mean, we can bounce back even if we fail. There is no shame in failing. So yeah.
Can I ask? Because there were 4 panelists, one could not come, so I requested you to play a double role as a moderator and panelist both. I would like, first of all, I feel that over and above women entrepreneurs, I am amongst the women activists also. They have wonderful idea. I feel myself proud for selecting these wonderful young women entrepreneurs for this panel discussion, and they have just overpassed what my expectation is. And I was not knowing much about what I understand. But my question to Runal, in fact, I think they all are almost, except Deval, but in her second role, she's a first generation entrepreneur. All of you joined your father business.
Yes.
What is the difficulty you face during your journey to become a successful entrepreneur today?
Now
This
he
is only because your
now
experience
he
can
is
help.
inviting the things on the table, not me. You are asking me, so I have to say everything which is right. No, jokes apart, being a second generation entrepreneur, it's absolutely a privilege. On the other hand, you learn a lot. Your own ideas are different from the ones than your father or the previous generation, because we live in a world of a digital expertise. They have never done such things before. They have a different story, a different ideology of their own. So I think basically it should be a proper bridge between both the things. The digital expertise, the new ideas, the new things that we can go in, because we are up for anything that comes. And at the same time, their experience counts a lot, because they have gone through it right from the start point. And we have already got that one step ahead. So we should consider ourselves, especially me, I should consider myself fortunate that I'm starting from a step ahead. Already the foundation has been laid, but whatever difficulties that he must have faced from that zero to the foundation, that difficulties I can take it as an experience and not repeat them again. So that's plus point, and the negative point, as I said, is it's hard to make them understand that what digital expertise actually means. Like, I'll share an experience. I stay far away from my corporate office, and he wants, for 2 questions also, he wants કે અહીંયા રૂમમાં આવી જા, મારે 2 ક્વેશ્ચન પૂછવા છે. अरे केवी रीतना, I can't travel that 14 kilometers and come to answer your 2 questions. So I said, Papa, we can do a video call. Now he doesn't understand that we see. Video call is not known to him. He only understands what is face to face. So for him and for me, these are one of the small things which we always discuss on the table. And I always send him, I will do it, but my way, you just concentrate on the results. Don't see the means. Because my way is different, your way is different, but the actual thing is the same. What you want for the larger business, I too want it for the organization. So anything I think the 2 generations should do is for the larger interest of the organization. Maybe your vision is different, your way of dealing is different, but the company's mission and vision should be always safeguarded. So there should not be anything which disturbs the organization or disturbs anything, the vision or the mission of the organization. The organization is made for a certain thing, for a certain purpose, and it should be well safeguarded and protected. So that is what I think it is.
Usha, just
I'll just add, because I joined the family business, so I can completely relate to.
please, go ahead. Today is your day. Go ahead.
So, people think entrepreneurship is tough. Actually, I also feel joining your family business
It's more
and
tough.
bringing that change to run it in the way you want is even more difficult, because there are so many people set in their ways of doing things. So change management is more
I'll
difficult.
just stop you here. Somebody
Yeah.
asked me, how would you do better than your father? I said, I don't want to surpass my father. I don't want to do anything better. I just want to carry his legacy because he's already done much.
Right.
Now
right.
I have to just shape it up in the today's
These
moments
moments.
world.
Right.
So I have to just make it more better. That's what, but that's also a challenge for us.
Exactly, that's the challenge. And then secondly, I think it also, I think, takes good courage of the father to let go of the reins and to give the reins to the daughter. So that's also admirable, sir.
So you must have also passed this.
Yes, exactly.
The message for Usha is over and above Dr. Jamin Massa AMA MSME Development Center in AMA. We have also been established a chair in Gujarat University, Dr. Jamin Massa MSME chair, where we bring awareness to the MSMEs regarding the various scheme available for by state government and central government, and we make the MSME understand how you can be the eligible for this scheme, and we help them to make sure they get their funds. Same, we also mentor startups, and we make sure that, and we handhold them to become a successful entrepreneur.
So you also facilitate the schemes also?
Yes,
Okay.
we have that.
Entire journey.
My colleague Mr. Mayank Mehta is there. He is looking after my MSME activity and educational activities. We have one scheme called Journey from Education to Entrepreneur, where with me around 20 advisors, these industries people are there, and we go school, college to college, and university to university, when whatever the subject they want, to give the real life experiences to the student. We help them, we make them understand the solutions for the problems, and we also help them the placement training. We also take them to the workshop for the industry tour also. My idea is, the only thing is, we make the children or students to understand what is tomorrow. By myself associating in many academic institutes, I want that the institute should change the syllabus. The world is moving very fast. So the employability requirement also goes required very fast. So that we help the universities to change their syllabus as per the today's requirement. This is what so whenever, whatever the scheme you want to do, your support, we are always available for that. Sorry, it was not a part of a women entrepreneurship.
Anybody else would like to ask a question is open.
Now floor is open.
Yeah, go on.
And I will happy
Now,
if
can
somebody
give
make
me-
this entrepreneur confused in giving the answers.
Oh.
गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन आई फील सो प्राउड कि मैं 3 और इवन 4 एंटरप्रेन्योर वहाँ देख रही हूँ जो अपने बिजनेस को आगे बढ़ा रही है, एंड आई एम सो हैप्पी इवन दो आई हैव रियली मैं पूरा सेशन सुनी नहीं हूँ, बट आई हैव स्टिल क्वेश्चन कि एमएसएमई का जब बात हम करते हैं ना, तब वी थॉट कि अगर हम स्टार्टअप कर रहे हैं या फिर हम बिज़नेस को बड़ा करना चाहते हैं, लार्ज वे में करना चाहते हैं, तो बहुत बार मैंने भी सुना है कि हमें स्टार्टअप के लिए लोन मिलता है या चीज़ें मिलती है. सो अगर किसी को पिच करना है अपने बिजनेस के बारे में, ठीक है, तो उसको इन्वेस्टर कहाँ से लाया जाए या कहाँ पिच किया जाए? मेरा तो पहला सवाल ये है. और दूसरा सवाल ये है कि इसका प्रोसेस है जो आप लोग शायद किए होंगे, तो वो कैसे करना चाहिए? बिकॉज आई एम इनटू क्लोथिंग बिजनेस, माई ब्रांड इज़ अक्सा भारत का स्टाइल, जहाँ पे कि मैं क्लोथिंग का काम कर रही हूँ. अगर मुझे अपने ब्रांड को बड़े लेवल पे स्केल करना है, और मैं आयुर्वेद में अपना ब्यूटी ब्रांड भी लॉन्च करने वाली हूँ जल्दी, तो मुझे जब बड़े स्केल पे करना है तो मुझे किस तरह से पिच करना है या फिर कहाँ से इन्वेस्टर लाना है? दैट इज़ राइट नाउ माई क्वेश्चन इज.
See, two things. I mean, I'll about to give that answers what you all would like to give, because the one thing is that when there is a will, there is always a way. And if you determine anything in today's world, government is so supportive. There are many organizations are there. They are ready to help you out and said. As Usha ji said, you should also be a part of such kind of organization like GCCI, FICCI, SOCM, FLOW, because there you are in a position to meet so many women entrepreneurs and MSMEs, and they will share their experience, and I'm sure you will get answer right across there. Regarding startup pitching, what you asked, as I said, that while in our university there are incubators are there, and we also invite the investors, and the startups sit against the investors and they give their presentation, and we make sure that that investor will have either by way of venture finance or a private equity, they join hands. You have to make your business presentation, your business project in such a way where you are today and where you want to reach. There are so many ways and means. Even if at all you need any further assistance, Megha Bhatt is also here. He is associated with me on our Dr. Jaimin Masa MSME chair in the Gujarat University, and we give lot of ideas. And this, my idea is, I want to make a startup and entrepreneur, MSME, micro to small and small to medium. This is my goal. Megha.
Hello, I'm Dr. Megha Bhatt, and to answer your question first, and later I also want to ask one question. So to answer your question, I'm a first generation business owner, and first being an educationist, now an edupreneur. So 2016 December, I was the first faculty-led startup in GUSEC, that is Gujarat University Startup and Entrepreneurship Council, where Sir has his own setup, and he's associated guiding people there. And as an incubation center, there are many incubation centers, like iHub is there directly with the government. Any university would also have incubation centers. So you can approach the incubation centers wherever in your vicinity. And trust me, they not only guide you about the funding part of it, they guide you about the different schemes which are eligible for you. And maybe, if you are fortunate enough, then there are a lot of opportunities in terms of, taking up entrepreneurship courses, okay? So suppose I was selected for IIT Bombay and IIT Delhi, 2 programs for 4 months each, where those IIT people actually train you. People like Ankur Warik, who trains you for different aspects of entrepreneurship. So that makes a lot of sense, and the doors are absolutely open. So you have to just take that initiative to go forward to the incubation center and start your journey. Best of luck. Okay, then my question to all of you is that there must be many amateurs here, and as a matured business person now, do you think to undergo any such entrepreneurship training programs, especially for making business canvas model, which includes revenue channels to customer base and whatever? So do you really think that to understand value proposition of your business and to understand the different channels in terms of business canvas model making for your own business is important? What is your view to that?
I think Deval will also answer. She's doing a great course. So, but I think for me, learning is constant. See, the world is changing so fast, right? So you have to pick up new signals, new ways of doing things, and otherwise you will be left behind. The pace of development is super fast. So I think you have to find creative ways of reaching out to different audiences and creating new businesses and different avenues. Because if you don't, somebody else will, and that will bite into your business. Rather than having somebody else, it's always better that you pick up new ways of, reaching out to different audiences in a more efficient, cost-effective way. So I definitely think no matter what business or what maturity level it is, you have to keep learning and be agile.
I would also like to add one thing, that it's never, I think, matured, because there are so many changes going on. To keep yourself updated, you need to keep on learning. So even if it's remaking your business model or changing it a bit, you will have to, keep pace with that learning things. Otherwise, it's never going to work out.
I can relate to this so much that I started in 2017 and trust me, so basically I started in 2017, but I underwent training in IIT in 2019, and that actually opened my idea of my customer channel. Because being educationist, I always felt that birthday parties are not my cup of tea. But trust me, when I tried making the first draft of my business canvas model, my mentor said that, do you know that birthday parties could be your first and foremost revenue channel?
Yeah.
Okay? And it's just the scientific workshop and nothing else. And that opened my door, and that's why I think that this question was very important.
Megha, I just would like to add, my one principle is always there. In any of my book or any of my lecture I say, learning has to be a continuous process. The day you stop learning, you are no more, you're finished. See, I did my PhD at the age of 63 years. Because why? I wanted to learn. Why? Learning that I wanted to make my business survive. Because we had a lot of difficulty because of China. So my subject was the comparative study of SMEs in India and China on a selected sectors. Chemical, pharma and textile were the sectors. I learned a lot. I found out what is happening. And believe me, that helped my business also to grow. So learning has to be continuous. You will find something new. And second is innovation. Whatever you are doing today, you must do either the same thing differently tomorrow or find out some other alternative also. These are the two very important things which I would like to tell all the people, all the audience in this particular hall. Thank you.
Megha, just to answer you, since you asked specifically about amateur who are starting it, I had the privilege to visiting a lot of startup festivals where I have been called as a mentor or a financer or a listener, even in iHub or even GoodSec or LJ universities for that matter. What I lack or what I feel that what it is lacking in the new entrepreneurs is that they actually do not understand their business. I have n number of times put a remark that, and I elaborated it in my own talks, that you should know your business. They do not understand numbers and they do not understand their business. So you need to actually do finance. However your business is good, I think they do not understand basic accounts, that whatever you sell is not your profit. they do sell minus cost as profit. No, because you are not counting lot of hidden thing, and then after a year you are surprised that there is nothing left, or probably you are negative, is because people do not understand cash flow. So I think most important is to do cash flow every month, and to do it, which most entrepreneurs also do not do it. And put your own time value also. That's number one. And also some basic communication skill is required, because you ask 2 questions in a startup fest and they fumble. And also they do not give projection about their own business on a bigger term. They are happy with 5 lakhs business projection. Even after 10 years, you said after 10 years, same. After 20 years, same. So then why would someone invest in you then? So first of all, they need to have dream big, but also to put numbers in present. And these 2 skills, I think school, colleges, we need to impart these skills in kids.
Being an education is first. Always, I think about children, and sometimes you would definitely tell me that put your numbers first, okay? So at least try to see, and what about your value, the man hour, what you are putting in for something. So I would never calculate my hour value. So he would always say that, what about your time, okay? So I think that's very well said.
We did a very nice seminar about Am I Really in Business with Vicky Flow ladies last month only. And we invited ex-CFO of Adani, Amit Bhai. And actually I had a lot of painful questions to all female entrepreneurs who were there in the seminar. I think everyone went home realizing something is amiss in their financial model. So I think when you become part of such programs or such organization, also these seminars help.
Yes.
Yeah, even AMA has fantastic courses.
Runal, coming back to the questions, I want the audience also to say, but one important thing I want you all 4 to answer. For today's business era, what is the importance of networking? Because earlier it was not required and now it is required. I mean, you can answer because I have seen doing a lot of networking while sitting in the office.
Okay, networking, I think it doesn't go with females in today's world. We also had back in the old city areas where there was Otla, where female used to chit chat. So I think networking for us Indians, it is in every nook and corner. But for business purposes, networking I think is very important. And I think someone just said that we need to be on many different platforms, because you need to learn from the people, you need to see that what they go through, and you can't make the same mistakes. And once you do a strong networking, you can get a good referral, you can get a good reference, and that would expand your thinking horizon also. And in today's world, networking is your net worth. So to make your business successful, you are supposed to have a strong networking.
Networking in the right crowd.
Absolutely.
That is the most important thing.
So
you
for
should know your
business,
target
yes.
audience, and you should mingle with those people only.
And you should have the best communication skills, because without you communicating well of what you want, you will not be able to get what you actually are looking for. So your communication in words should be very placed well. So it's not, you can still go to any classes, you can learn by yourself, but communication should be there even in the business. If you want a successful business, there should be a proper communication within the business and outside on networking platforms also.
What I feel is that, as the owner of the business, I should not do things that my people can do. And networking and promoting your business with the passion that an owner has, nobody else can do. Rest of the work, other people can surely do. So when it comes to networking, that's up to you. It is your business, the way you have to portray it, you have to brand it. That will only come by being in, as you said, in the right forums, talking about your company in the way you want to portray it. And that's only something an owner can do.
Because you can hire people for other designations.
Yeah, you can hire other
but
people
you can't
for
hire
other things.
networking.
Exactly.
Now, in the audience, anybody wants to ask the question? Yes, please.
Oh, wow.
એમએસએમઈમાં એક પેટન્ટ આસિસ્ટન્સ માટેની એક સ્કીમ છે. મેં એક પ્રોડક્ટ પેટન્ટ કરાવી અને ગવર્મેન્ટ એના નિયમ પ્રમાણે એવું છે કે દે ગીવ 75% ઓફ ધ એક્સપેન્સીસ ઇન્કર્ડ બાય યુ એઝ એન આસિસ્ટન્સ. એટલે તમારી પેટન્ટ જ્યારે પબ્લિકેશન થાય ને પછી તમે એપ્લાય કરી શકો છો 1 વર્ષની અંદર. તો મેં એપ્લાય કર્યું તો એ લોકોએ મને મેં લગભગ 3.5 લાખ રૂપિયા જેવો ક્લેમ કરેલો, તો મને 14% જ મને આપ્યા, ઓનલી 14% ઇન્સ્ટેડ ઓફ 75%. જ્યારે રૂલમાં લખેલું જ છે પણ પછી મેં જ્યારે એમને પૂછ્યું, હું ત્યાં ફેસ ટુ ફેસ ગયો એમએસએમઈની ઉદ્યોગ ભવનની ઓફિસમાં, મેં કહ્યું કે તમે મને 75 ને પેલા 14% કેમ આપ્યા? એટલે કે અમે અપ ટુ 75% આપીએ, એટલે 60 પણ આપ્યા, 50 પણ આપીએ, 14 પણ આપીએ, એવું નથી અમારે. હવે અમારી ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટની પોલિસી છે. મેં કહ્યું પણ ગવર્મેન્ટની પોલિસીમાં તો અપ ટુ 75% લખ્યું જ નથી. એમાં તો સ્પષ્ટ લખેલું છે કે યુ વિલ ગેટ 75% ઓફ ધ એક્સપેન્સીસ. એટલે કે પણ અમારા ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટની પોલિસી છે. પછી મેં એમને કાઉન્ટર આર્ગ્યુમેન્ટ કર્યું. મેં કીધું કે તમારા યુ કેનોટ ફ્રેમ એની ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટલ પોલિસી વિચ ઇઝ અગેન્સ્ટ ધ ગવર્મેન્ટલ એક્ઝિસ્ટિંગ પોલિસી ઓર વિચ ઇઝ અગેન્સ્ટ ધ ગવર્મેન્ટલ રૂલ્સ. તમે ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટની ઇન્ટરનલ તમારી એરેન્જમેન્ટ કન્વિનિયન્સ માટે નવી તમારી પોલિસી બનાવી શકો છો, પણ ગવર્મેન્ટની જે એક્ઝિસ્ટિંગ પોલિસી એને કોન્ટ્રાવિન થાય એવી પોલિસી તમારે બનવાનો કોઈ રાઇટ નથી તમને. પછી મેં આરટીઆઈ કર્યું. મેં કીધું આ મોડે મોડે જવાબ આલશે નહીં બરાબર. તો એ લોકોએ મને ખોટા જવાબ આપ્યા. હું અપીલમાં ગયો. તો અપીલમાં ગયો એટલે મને અપીલની ડેટ આપી. હું ગયો અપીલની ડેટમાં. તો હવે જે દિવસે જે સરને મળવાનું હતું તો હું ગયો ને એ જ ટાઈમે કોઈ આઈએએસ ઓફિસરનો ફોન આવ્યો. પેલા સાહેબને મળવા માટે બોલાવ્યા સચિવાલયમાંથી. એટલે કે મારે ત્યાં જવું પડશે. એટલે એમણે એમની અંડરના કોઈ ઓફિસર હતા, એમને કહ્યું અમને હિયરિંગ કરી લો. એટલે પહેલાં તો ગયા અને જે અંડરના ઓફિસર હતા એની પાસે કોઈ ડિસાઇડિંગ કોઈ ઓથોરિટી હતી નહીં. એમણે તો મને સાંભળ્યો ને જે પોઈન્ટ લખી નાખ્યા. પછી મેં કહ્યું કે આ તમારે થવું જોઈએ, પણ હજુ સુધી કોઈ જવાબ આપ્યો નથી. માત્ર 14% જ આપે, મને 48,000 કેવા કંઈક આપ્યા. તો ગવર્મેન્ટની જે સ્કીમો છે બધી દે આર ઓલ રોઝી ઓન પેપર, બટ ધીસ બ્યુરોક્રેસી ઇઝ ક્રિએટિંગ ગ્રેટર હર્ડલ્સ. તો તમારે એમએસએમઈ આ લોકો સામે પણ કંઈક ક્લિયરન્સ માટે.
I'll tell you two things. First of all, at least you come to us and show me your case.
Yes,
because
yes.
we have in our advisor board the patent expert also.
Right.
And they also manage the government જેને બી પેટન્ટમાં બી 3 ટાઈમ આપે છે. At the time of filing the patent, at the time of accepting the patent, and at the time of when you release the patent. So just I will be able to help you, Mayank bhai. So at least we can help me, and you just see that if your case is genuine, we'll definitely help you out. Because I am also in the MSME council also, where so many MSME cases are coming, and I am there in the committee to find out the solution to it. So we'll be able to help you out.
Thank you.
Any other?
Anything else?
No.
I think one last question.
First of all, I would like to thank all the women as empowering the men, bringing on the earth.
Thank you.
And just perhaps all the points cover, but how you can empower the perhaps the men and women. Like currently what problem we going to face is empowering the kids. And there is a young kids I found down here who is on mobile. So empowering the kids in the current scenario. Just everyone, if please say something.
I would like to answer because I had my 2 boys sitting over here. I think they should be channelized properly, and whatever we think and whatever even the mistakes that we make or whatever we want to discuss should be discussed with them also, so they know that they are not being discarded. એવું ના કહેવું જોઈએ કે હજી તું નાનો છે. No, otherwise then they feel that this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm still not into that thing. I think that they, right from the age they become 16, they should be channelized in a very proper way if you want them to follow what you have been doing or what you want, actually what you have carved for them. Like any business, I'm sure they must agree that if you talk to them properly, and if you make them understand, be a friend to them, not like a friend, you are a parent, but if you understand them and listen to them, I think they would follow what you have selected, what the path that you are selecting, what advices that you are giving. This is my personal experience.
So
Anybody
I'll
you
just
can-
talk on the technology part. Anything on this planet in excess is bad. Like take sugar, a very simple thing, right? If you eat too much sugar, that is bad for you, right? So that's the same way in technology. So I think one has to learn what is good about technology and use it in that particular way.
Wisely.
And then secondly, I think kids follow example of the parents. So if, you know, as a parent, you're on the phone, they will follow the same thing. We have a rule in the house, no phone on the dining table, and that's the rule they follow. So I think we
should
as
set an
parents
example.
should set their example, and that's what kids learn, and what is acceptable and what's not.
One important thing I would also like to mention, we should give a lot of independence to the kids. So once they are 16 or 15, like in our house, we are all at the dining table by 8 o'clock. We are discussing business openly there. Like
Yeah.
Runal mentioned, जो खराब है वो भी discuss करो, जो अच्छा है वो भी discuss करो. So that the kids know where we stand actually. And the first and the foremost thing is to give freedom to your kids to do independently. Even in the business, आप अपना impose मत करो कि no, you should be doing this. You let them try new things. Like I'm sure, like if Runal is a second generation entrepreneur, she would have also tried new things, and Mr. Vasa would have allowed her to do that. That's the
100%.
reason she's flying now.
Yeah, 100%. We have to give them a little space to try themselves.
I guess
I
subconscious.
am the boss
sorry,
and you
sorry,
listen
sorry.
to me, that doesn't work today, for sure. I think this is the way it should be done. That language would work much better now. So I'm sure they will.
I guess subconsciously, what I have done for my kids is that I do not do any gender statements because it is so deep rooted in our culture. So if boy is crying, you said don't cry like a girl, you know. So that's very basic. And બોલે જ છે બધા ને આરામથી બધા બોલે જ છે કે છોકરી જેવું કેમ રડે છે. I think we need to stop all these things because this goes a long way. Crying is a way of expressing. So if he cries, it's okay, but there's nothing to do with gender on
it's
that.
even better.
This is a very basic thing, but you know, asking your boy to get a glass of water if a guest has come. I know my mom used to do it for my brother, and lot of time people said that why is he bringing in? But I think somewhere down the line you need to change the gender stereotype because we have accepted women in the workforce, but Anand Mahindra made a very strong statement that women will never be equal outside if man is not equal inside. So unless we manage this, we will never be able to bring about larger change that we are talking about. You know, then it will be handful of women who is well supported by the family will succeed, but rest of them will not dare to dream bigger. So we need to make a very big fundamental shift on this.
Yeah.
If we extrapolate the same concept, whereas women entrepreneurs, if your male partners or husbands are in the same business, what are the pros and cons?
So that's the case. My husband and
Remember
I.
before replying that we two are in the same business. So.
No, the same. I think my husband and I are together in the same business, and it was a conscious choice. And I think the main learning of that was that, you know, work is work, home is home, right? We don't bring work to our bedroom, and if there is a need, you know, we have to ask permission. He asks me if he wants to discuss something. I ask him if he wants to discuss something at home. And we have the right to say, okay, no, I do not want to discuss. And that is a respect that you have to do. And the other is that you have to have clear demarcation, you know, of roles. Otherwise, it will never succeed, right? So lot of places it has succeeded, and I think one just needs to figure out what recipe works for that.
Salil, when you ask the question for me and Runal, but I will say that it all depends upon husband and wife are joining business under what circumstances. See, my wife joined me the business in the forced circumstances, against her own choice. Against her own choice, because that was and that helped me out in a way with a different nature altogether. She is calm and cool and she can manage the whole office. I being little bit more aggressive, it was difficult for me. And at that time, I had no option to move around for the business. And she looked after the whole business. So it all depends upon under what circumstances you need her and she needs you.
True, yeah.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. सबसे पहले तो थैंक यू वेरी मच कि आपने इतना वंडरफुल सेशन अभी अरेंज किया. मेरे 2 क्वेश्चन हैं बिजनेस को लेके. एक मार्केटिंग को लेके है कि लाइक जब भी हम कोई नया बिजनेस स्टार्ट करते हैं तो ब्रांड अवेयरनेस एंड ट्रस्ट कैसे बिल्ड करें. और दूसरा क्वेश्चन है कि लाइक टीम बिल्डिंग की प्रोसेस क्या होनी चाहिए. तो ये 2 क्वेश्चन है. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
You want to answer?
Team building, I think, is the most difficult thing to do in today's time. Retaining manpower is the biggest challenge that everybody is facing in every industry. I'm sure everybody agrees to this. I think treating your team like a family and giving them the freedom of, like Deval said, she has given the freedom of time to her team, so which makes them work for her more. So giving the freedom of time and also treating them like a family. Nowadays, पहले की तरह नहीं है कि if you're paying, you have to work certain fixed hours for us. That doesn't work nowadays. You have to be flexible in your thought process. You have to be flexible for the timings. Also, if somebody is doing better than others, you have to give incentives to them. Team building is definitely a big time challenge, and you really have to work very, very strongly on it.
I think he asked something else as well.
So,
apart from
So
team-
on the marketing and the brand side, I think it starts with a core vision of the company, right? Why do you even exist? What's your unique? So you have to go. There are enough classes on creating that vision, mission statement. Which has to be, futuristic. I love Simon Sinek. You have to, get his book on, finding your why. It's an excellent book, and he talks about that, having that core vision. That is the first step
Following
I
the
would
vision.
do. Yeah,
He talks
yes.
about following your vision.
Vision, yeah.
That should not move.
Yeah. But to even define that vision itself is a long exercise, and there are classes I would recommend to take that because that will definitely define you. And as she said, team building, it's a continuous exercise. Like in our company, we have monthly, the all hands meetings where we do it more informally, and then a quarterly where we transparently share information. So there are, it's a never ending, because as she said, it's the most difficult thing to do, but it has to be done because the employees need to know that they belong and they're, to that larger purpose and a vision.
True.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome. Anybody else? Yeah, go on. I think we should take it as the last question now.
Hi all. Yes, મારો ક્વેશ્ચન કદાચ MSME રિગાર્ડિંગ છે કે જો સર્વિસ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીમાં જ્યારે પ્રોડક્શન્સ થાય તો MSME માઇટ બી હાવ, બટ થિંગ ઇઝ ઇન અ સર્વિસ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી આઈ એમ ઇન્ટુ ધ નેટવર્કિંગ. ઓકે, એટલે મારું મેડિકલ ટુરિઝમનું એનું કામ છે. તો મેડિકલ ટુરિઝમના કામમાં તો ધારો કે મને USA જવું પડે, આફ્રિકા જવું પડે, સ્પેશિયલી પેશન્ટ કેમ ફ્રોમ આફ્રિકા. સો ઇન દેટ કેસ મારું તો ટ્રાવેલ અલાઉન્સ જ એટલું થઈ જાય. ઇટ્સ માય બિઝનેસ, ઇટ્સ અ કોસ્ટ. મને પોસાતું નથી. So is it possible any scheme which can help me for the traveling allowances? And I'm into the networking, even we are into the import export. કે અમે ત્યારે my husband is a gynecologist, so અમે ત્યાં OT માં હોઈએ તો 40 days we are there. So in between we are into the numbers of networking group. So એ કેસમાં બી મારા expenses બહુ જ વધી જાય છે. ઘણી વખત મારે એને તો how can I handle all those things?
You have registered in MSME?
No, we are not.
First of all, you get yourself registered in MSME. Then and then you are at the service industries. Can be given some benefits, number one. Number two, we have also recently asked the government, but it comes to the central government, for the manufacturers, when they go out for any exhibition, or either they take the part in exhibition, then there is a scheme by the government, to give the airfare to certain extent, and also the literature fees, and also the cost of the stand also. So they have certain different kind of percentage into it, but they support you. Yes, we have requested that, because service industries, this question has come to the government many times, that normally government under the service industry is a local industry. But as you rightly said, for medical tourism.
મેડિકલ ટુરિઝમને આ બજેટમાં બી અલગથી મતલબ પોર્શન છે. દે આર હાઈલી સપોર્ટ કરે છે મેડિકલ ટુરિઝમ. ઓફકોર્સ આપણા ઇન્ડિયામાં એના લીધે ડોલર્સ આવશે, ઓકે. બટ થિંગ ઇઝ કે એના લીધે જે ઇનિશિયલ કોસ્ટ ડોક્ટર્સને અમારા જેવા મેડિકલ ટુરિઝમ કંપનીઝને જે થાય છે ને, તો એનું કોઈ સપોર્ટ સિસ્ટમ નથી. So,
medical tourism means you are going all alone, or you're taking the group with you.
Group, yes.
Group, you can get this. Just if you are going in group, I thought you are talking about yourself going and making the expenses of the tour and all this.
No, and we are
when
we
you're
are into
group,
group.
when you're
Actually,
group and a traveling group, yes, Mayank bhai, where is he?
માઇન્ડ ભાઈનો નંબર મેં લીધો. યસ, એકચ્યુઅલી ગુજરાતના અને ઇન્ડિયાના જેટલી બી SGVPથી લઈને બધી જ હોસ્પિટલ્સ એસોસિએટેડ વિથ અસ, પણ ટ્રાવેલ અલાઉન્સ આવે ને, ડૉક્ટર્સ ઇવન વી આર સેલ્ફ ગમે મતલબ એ કરોડો કમાતા હોય ને, પણ રિયલ જ્યાં સુધી પેશન્ટ એમના ટેબલ પર ના આવે OT અને દેન તો ત્યાં સુધી એ નહીં કરે. એટલે ટીલ દેટ ટાઈમ વી હેવ ટુ બેર ઇટ.
That is the hospital's criteria. But medical tourism, government is promoting medical tourism
yes,
in a very big way. So he will give you some idea how you can
sure.
apply for that. Right?
Yeah, thank you so much.
I think it's all done. I hope you all have enjoyed this session. Listening to all the different areas, I think we built a strong ecosystem here that supports the women's of the MSME, and it enhances the potential growth of the nation. There is a saying by Michelle Obama, empowerment of women is very essential to unlock the potential of the entire nation. And I think it goes to all of us. So thank you so much for joining us today here. And thank you so much for coming here and sharing your views and journeys and success stories.
Before we leave, there is one thing which I have to perform, a duty to propose the vote of thanks. Friends, it was a remarkable experience and thought-provoking session. It is my privilege to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks on behalf of the Dr. Jamin Vasa, AMA MSME Development Center and Ahmedabad Management Association. We are really grateful to all these young entrepreneurs. I would like everybody to give a big round of applause to these young ladies. And they have, that it includes Usha, Anuja, Deval, and of course Runal. She moderated nicely and she replied as a panelist also. So your wisdom, your experience and success stories have truly enriched our understanding of women's entrepreneurship, and your words have not only motivated but have also inspired countless aspiring entrepreneurs. A heartfelt thanks to the women entrepreneurs over here, and I really thank that you whatever the efforts we have made. How are you? So thanks to all the audience, and I am sure that you will really, and I am thankful to the management of Ahmedabad Management Association and President and Mr. Unmesh Dixit, the Executive Director. He relentlessly worked hard to make sure that this program also become a successful. As we conclude, let us not see this at the end, but rather the beginning of the stronger collaborations, as they rightly said, greater innovation and continued support for women entrepreneurs. Let us take forward this knowledge and inspiration from today's discussion and turn them into the actions. Once again, thank you all for your valuable time, insights and contribution. We look forward to many more such engaging and impactful sessions in the future. Please do attend whenever we organize such kind of fashion, and wishing you all the continued success, growth and empowerment. Thank you very much.